Bukola joins me now as we find out exactly what you're saying on X. Bukola.
Yes, indeed. Nigerians are saying quite a lot, and it's quoted as usual with the humor that we've come to enjoy and a bit of skepticism as well, particularly when it comes to policy that affects them in one way or the other. But this morning, we're starting with your reactions to the CBN's Monetary Policy Committee meeting, raising interest rate by 50 basis points to 26.75%, well, amid soaring inflation, evidently. And the first reaction comes from Professor Imonoka Enakena, who says, the raise of interest rate will stifle business growth and expansion. This is not the right time for this economic nauseating policy that is anti-people. This shows that they don't believe genuinely that Nigerians are suffering. They become desperate, destitute. Many are homeless, and many have dropped out of school. Some have committed suicide, and unemployment rates are growing. Many more SMEs are folding daily due to this draft economic policy.
Well, he calls it daft, not even draft.
Oh.
All right. Muyeto says this really is. I guess you wanted to say this is really a welcome development. I guess long awaiting achievement is even long overdue. Thank you. Okay, I don't know. Thank you very much, official APC-led government. I guess this may be sarcasm.
This is if this is official okay. The writer is copying official APC government, so this may be sarcasm, as you said, Jeffrey. Yeah. Well, this next talking point is from Joseph, who says it's a contractionary measure to encourage saving and thereby curb inflation. The current state of the economy requires such as there are too much money in circulation chasing fewer goods.
That is his diagnostics, by the way.
Yeah, but what about all the other issues, you know?
All right. It's not as simple as that.
You know, needing to secure loans, but they are unable to secure loans at this interest rate, you know, and the impact on the service sector, so to speak.
All right, let's be. Chukuvin says, this is not funny, I beg. Increase minimum wage, increase interest rate, and then inflation soars. At the end, the minimum wage increase becomes next to nothing. This math is not mathing, I beg.
Okay, so let's go to the next talking point this morning. NAS speedily passes 70,000 naira minimum wage. And the first person reacting this morning is Joy For You, who says, let them also pass to bill compulsory payment of overtime to employees, calculated at an hourly rate higher than the normal hourly rate. Employees' time schedule needs to be respected. Well, the minimum wage policy in Nigeria doesn't... it
doesn't do wage, it does
salaries. Doesn't do per hour, it does salaries. Yeah.
BP Massey with plenty of numbers. A lot of people in the federal health sector have not been paid their salary 6 to 7 months now. Hashtag Nigerian Ministry of Health. Out of the fear of the coming protest, you guys went ahead to approve a bill you know that is impossible to pay.
Well, we're going to subject all of that to scrutiny later on the program. But this next person says, and that will be Great of Network, says, congratulations to you and all the stakeholders under your ministry for being able to spearhead and secure this minimum wage. Your efforts and struggles were not in vain. As I said in one of my posts, more is needed in addressing labor issues through engagement.
Akia Folabi says they know what's coming. They don't want to lose guard. Honestly, Nigeria can be better. A greater country, if not for the tribal and religious manipulation by those in key posts. All right, let's move on to the next one. Representatives, that's the House of Reps now, about NERC, that's the regulator of the electricity sector, and this goes to reverse Ban A tariff hike. So Sulaiman Sukomi says, yet we all want a working country. Whoever says having a stable electricity is cheap probably didn't understand the whole thing. Nigeria, we are not ready.
I wonder where we're going to move from, you know, these kinds of conversations. But this next one is from Adeoye Lambo, who says the electricity tariff should be uniform. If Band A enjoy more of our light, I believe, of course, we call power supply in this part light, they should pay according to their consumption. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so for context, the government is paying a lot in terms of subsidy. There's fuel. Because I don't understand why the president will say, I'll give you 250 and increase fuel price if he's not paying subsidy, if it's deregulated. So they are paying subsidy. There's no argument.
Evidently.
Even if they don't agree to, even if they don't want to say it, they are paying subsidy in electricity. They are defending the naira. Sorry, electricity, petrol, naira. There's a lot going on. Anyway, let's take you back to the National Assembly. This time, remember a few days ago, last week, when Senator Akpabio had kind of reprimanded Senator Natasha when
because she had not been asked
she has not been asked to speak, and she spoke. But she apologized quickly, but he made a remark that some people consider sexist when he said, this is not the nightclub. But he's gone on to apologize. Take a listen to him.
A public apology to you over the miscommunication and the misunderstanding. So do accept my apologies, and my colleagues, or anybody who could have felt offended, accept my apologies. I did not mean any harm, and I did not mean what they are misinterpreting in the social media. And I hope this will come to an end. And people should concentrate on things that will move this country forward and not things that will divide us. So,
yeah, he's made, if I was to speak to the Senate president, I think if I were to advise him, I would have just said, apologize and don't add anything. Because some of the things he now said may also be misinterpreted. So when you're in that position of power, your words should be fewer, because everything you say means a lot. But this is what the people are saying. Semper Fidelis says, I like how he addressed the issue. Politicians should be responsible to the people, not to take them for granted.
And this next person, Adekunle Philip, says, this is honorable. I say it as I know it. Apologizing to Senator Natasha publicly is a good start for Mr. Senate President. What he has to do for the Nigerian people is to be more interested in the welfare of Nigerians, not just about sending prayers to his colleagues. Trust Nigerians not to let this bit of humanity go without demanding more of it in other areas. And that's just fair. You know, if our elected public office holders can be listening like this, you know, then they can also demonstrate their humanity in other areas, particularly that affect the people, by reducing the cost of governance.
Yeah, that's why you need to keep talking. Don't stop talking. Let's talk about the president appealing to the protesters who are converging on different locations across the country on August the 1st to protest against economic hardship. He's saying he's appealing to them to shelve their plan and give him some time. Well, this is what you're saying on X. Salem David 95. You said a government that spends more on medical tourism and gift for already wealthy lawmakers and can't address the issue of middlemen in the agri sector. Ripping the poor apart is a selfish government. All we want is to be able to feed and have access to social amenities.
And the next person reacting is Morenike Obutolu, who says, let the president enhance and, as a matter of urgency, revive all social investment programs. End power backlogs should be paid immediately in order to allow the youth who are beneficiaries use them judiciously and improve the current conditions.
Flourish 007 says he needs to see himself and address the nation about what he's doing to alleviate the hardship. He should speak directly in a language people understand and stop sending intermediaries. Bats traveled around the country to campaign and dance to the music from a broom, even though he made no promises. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Which is planned national protest.
Yes, this is coming from
politically motivated.
This is coming from Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister. Well, he's a politician.
Yes, indeed.
So,
and the first person speaking this morning is Aminu Abdul Hamid Abdullahi, who says, nothing political. The government missed best step to avert, I believe, the grievance of the youth. The government should stop, I believe, all the poverty alleviation programs which the youth benefit. End power to humanitarian assistance, palliatives for workers. Well,
all right, so
that wasn't quite coherent.
Yes, we have a lot to bring people up to speed with. The next one has to do with, which is last week, Bayo Onanuga, the presidential aide, one of the aides of the president, speaks for the president, had accused Peter Obi and all of that for being behind the protest. And the Obi people came out and said, look, we have no hand in all of this. We're not part of all of this. But
indeed, just on Monday, I believe, we had the spokesperson of the Ovidati.
Yes, Eunice Tanko. And we're still waiting for either Ajurin Galali or Bayo Onanuga himself to come on the show. Let's have that conversation. Well, Obi is demanding an apology. Peter Obi, His Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State, as well as 5 billion naira from Tinubu's aid. He threatens a lawsuit. This person, Young Gubna, says, I love this, and Peter needs to not to be keeping quiet to all of the malicious defamation henceforth.
And Unifier Benue says it's a demand for public apology and payment of 5 billion naira for damages, failure of which an action for defamation and libel would be instituted against Bio. Pretty much reiterating what has been said already.
All right, so we understand that Governor Obasanya is raising an alarm that the North is on the brink of collapse. There are so many things going on in that part of the country. All of the numbers, or most of the numbers point in that direction: out of school children, poverty, insecurity, and that's why perhaps he's raising this alarm. Sunday Adekomi says Northern leaders should be held responsible, not President Bola Tinubu. What they have done with what have they done with allocation being collected monthly?
Yeah, well, this is a challenge as much as it is a test for the northern governors, who, by the way, converged recently for a summit, on the way forward to developing the North. So they must move beyond conferences and summits
and talk shop
to acting on, developing a Marshall Plan for the North. Well, this next one is from Akpabio, who says the North is doing so well. Today, Kano has 2 emirs. Who would have imagined this several years ago? The North is very okay. That's a bit of sarcasm as well.
There's a lot of, it's just on the lighter side, but it's not funny. There are challenges all over the place. When it comes to the twos, I call that the tales of twos. 2 emirs in Kano, 2 houses of assembly in River State, 2 deputy governors in Edo State. So there's enough two to go around, but that's not the conversation. The first conversation has to do with the minimum wage and how it impacts the economy. The interest rate has just been increased by 50 basis points. The experts are here to bring us up to speed as to what all of this means to our macroeconomic outlook. Join us again after this break.